Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. There's a post that's went about tonight. There's a journalist. There has been a journalist who has put out an article which I found rather interesting about Daizen Maeda. Let me just check everything is working first of all. But first, before we listen to that, I'm going to listen to Brendan Rodgers. Just listen to this. That's fine. We're going to listen to Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has just done an interview that's been put out with Celtic TV, and we're going to see what the boss is saying about the game this weekend.
Well, we're coming into it in a really good place. Form has been good, results have been good, performance is good. So, we're excited by the game.
You faced Rangers 3 times this season. It was a dominant 3-0 win at Celtic Park. There was a dramatic cup final victory in December and a disappointing result at Ibrox, which is fair to say. What have you and the team taken from those experiences, and how can that be applied to the game on Sunday?
Well, I think every Celtic Rangers game there's always a tension and there's always an excitement leading into the game, and you just hope that you can make the performance. And during my time as a Celtic manager, we've tended to do that. Like you say, the game earlier in the season, we were very good, 3-0. The cup final was tight, but we came through on that. And then in the last game at Ibrox, the Rangers were the better team. We didn't meet the demands of the game that day, of what it takes in that type of fixture. But the players' response from that has been outstanding. I think at that point we were 14 points clear of Rangers. We come into this game and we're 16 points. So the players' response has been good, and we look to have learned the lessons from that.
You've spoken a lot in your time here, Brendan, about the psychological side of these games, blocking out the noise, staying composed and focusing on the details. How key will that be on Sunday?
Very, very. It is easier said than done because of the passion and the energy, but no, this is one for us to perform, and we will have 57,000 supporters in the stadium really behind us. We want to make them proud of their team, and we want to make another step forward in the league again. So for us, that is about performance, and if we can perform well, we believe that we have a great chance to win any game.
I suppose the challenge for any Celtic manager, Brendan, is for the fans, this fixture is everything, but how do you and the players embrace that passion while staying clear-headed on the task?
Well, I think it's the point that you mentioned. You have to control the noise. There's a lot of build-up to this game. There's a lot said in the game, but the story is always our story.
Yeah, it is
the story that we tell ourselves going into the game. So yes, that allows us to focus. That's my job. To create that narrative as we go through each week and each time we play, and this game will be no different. You can't push to the side the emotion, because that's what football is. Our club is a fanatical support base. It's based on passion and enthusiasm for their club, and it's as many supporters. It really is their life. So we don't dismiss that. We know that we're playing for our support base, and we want to make them proud, we want to make the club proud, and ultimately we want to get 3 points.
Well, Brendan, thanks for joining us, and I speak for every Celtic supporter. Wish you
Get fucking into them.
Thank you very much. We'll be doing absolutely everything we can to make the supporters proud and put on a performance that they can go away and be happy on.
Go away and be happy. Go away and be happy. We will have to go away and be happy because there is an international break right after that game. There is no Celtic for a couple of weeks, so we'll have to do with I don't know what we're going to do. There'll always be some news kicking about, but there is one news story. That is kicking about this evening, and it is the fact that although Celtic know that Daizen Maeda, I'll read the article in full. Celtic are at risk of losing Daizen Maeda as interest grows, as sources reveal. Stance on exit. Celtic are at risk of losing the main man Daizen Maeda as several European sides are considering moves for the winger this summer. Celtic have had another successful season so far. We've lifted one cup. We're on course to lift the Scottish Cup, and we could complete a domestic treble under Brendan Rodgers. And how many people got it wrong about Brendan Rodgers, about the fact that he wouldn't see out his second season? How many folk thought, he's never going to last, he'll jump at the first offer that comes along, and he can't do it in Europe. That was the big talking point when Brendan Rodgers came back, is can he achieve something in Europe with Celtic, something that he didn't do before. And let's face it, he doesn't have a great record, a European record, but it has been a successful season so far when it comes to getting to the playoff knockout phase for Europe, playing against Bayern Munich. And let's face it, we did come close, but over the two legs, it was just a little bit too much. With a little bit more quality, Celtic may have done it. With 36 goals contributions in all competitions this season, Daizen Maeda is one of the most influential people at Celtic right now. The Japanese international is arguably one of the best players and one of the best pressers in European football at the moment. That's why it's set to be a summer where he will be in demand. Clubs from Italy and Germany are keeping tabs on Daizen, who may consider a move for him this summer. The 27-year-old is contracted to Celtic until 2027. It puts him in a cracking position to get a sizable fee for the player. Kyogo Furuhashi was sold in January for just £10 million. Daizen Maeda is way better than Kyogo Furuhashi. The fact that he's the striker for Japan and Kyogo isn't, although strangely enough Kyogo did get a call up to the national team since he's left Celtic. Sat on the bench at Rennes, not had any game time at all. Nada. And he still gets called up. It's a load of nonsense, isn't it? It's a complete load of nonsense. Anyway, Celtic are keen, the article goes on to say, that Celtic are keen to renew Daizen Maeda's contract before the end of the season to secure his value for the upcoming transfer window. Sources state that Daizen Maeda is happy at Celtic and won't agitate for a move away. But like any player, he has desires to play at the highest levels possible. The fact that Celtic could build on this year's European progress and try and make the knockout stages proper next season, will Celtic pay out the cash to keep their player, and will they fulfil the ambition of the player also by bringing in more talent to help Celtic get further in European football? Celtic tend to sell players when they're at their peak. Daizen is definitely a player that is at the peak of his game. He doesn't look to be slowing down at all. Celtic may sell him while his stock is high if they cannot get a deal done with Daizen Maeda. I think getting a deal done with Daizen Maeda is paramount, and I think that it wouldn't surprise me if it was Celtic like to bring this kind of detail out during international breaks. So the fact that this story has brought, and I'm not too sure about the guy who wrote it. He used to work for the BBC. that's all I'm saying. Brendan Rodgers, meanwhile, stated that he stated he wants to hold on to his key players and continue a plan to make the club more dominant in Europe. When asked about Maeda leaving to join a club earlier this summer, Brendan Rodgers says, look, there could be an interest in him and a number of other players. I think that we would receive offers, but I think the number of players could receive offers because of their efficiency and work. If you're doing it at Champions League level, you're showing that you could do it on that stage. Daizen Maeda is a player that is head and shoulders, to pardon the pun, head and shoulders, and it's what do you put if we can get Daizen to sign a new contract and add another 2 years extension onto his current 2-year deal, so he's here for another 4 years, pay him 50 grand a week or whatever it's going to take. What do we then put in as a transfer fee to try and put off people coming from down south or Germany or Italy to try and buy Daizen Maeda. I mean, what is his valuation to Celtic? I think for us to get in a player of quarter of his ability, it's going to cost us at least 20 million. So you mean Daizen for me is 30 million player all day long. So let's jump into Paradise Found says, stick a 50 million on Daizen and see who comes close. The thing is Solanke's now saying 35 million plus for Daizen Maeda. If you can get him to sign a new contract, yes, you put in a clause 35 million plus. If anybody wants to come in with a 35 million plus add-ons, there you go. And we tell Daizen that. We say, look, we're going to give you a new contract. And we know that you're happy enough, you could stay out your next 2 years. We're going to give you this new contract. If anyone comes in with 35 million plus, and you'll get the zombie saying, "I've no worth 35 million, more than Matt O'Reilly, and Matt O'Reilly was 30 million, says Jamesy Boy. And that was with the add-ons. It was 25 million plus 5 million add-ons. I don't know how those add-ons are working out. Because if it's coming down to the amount of games played, Celtic are now losing out on money. We wouldn't be able to replace Maeda, says Irishman 1916. I think that players are always replaceable. I mean, we've managed to replace strikers since Henrik left so many years ago. It'll be interesting to see what clubs want him, says Willie2269. It's true, it'll be interesting to see what clubs, if any offers do come in. There was interest from, no, that was for Rio Hatate, wasn't there? There was a 10 million put in bid for Rio Hatate. If Bayern Munich are impressed with Daizen, all I'll say is they spend daft money on players. Would Bayern Munich be a club that comes in for him? Be interesting to see. Imagine 35 million Daizen must be 60, yeah. We won't be able to replace Daizen, quite a few of them. I think Maeda's going nowhere. We don't want him to go anywhere, but Celtic have to be realistic and have to know that, look, we have to protect ourselves, and he's worth the wage rise. He's worth the wage rise all day long. Whatever he's on, it is not enough. Whatever he's on, it's not enough. I mean, he could double his wages just by leaving Celtic. I understand that there was a clause in Jota's contract that if he didn't leave Celtic at the time that when there was the bid came in the first time, and we still don't know what Jota's on. It was suggested that Jota was going to get 45 grand a week. Now, has Jota came back for that 45 grand a week? It's weird that I'm going to try and find out. Should have done this earlier. Let's explore this site again. See, this doesn't have Jota on it. Still got Lewis Powell on it. No, it's out of date, that site. If it was to be automatically, I mean, Cameron. This says that Cameron and Carter Vickers was on 37. Callum McGregor's on 37. It says that Kyogo was on 19. It says that Daizen Maeda's on 18. If you really value Daizen Maeda, you put him on to 37 straight away. If that seems to be the I mean, the fact that Alistair Johnston's only on 16. Put this into perspective. Alistair Johnston's on the exact same, according to this site, Salary Sport, Alistair Johnston's on the exact same wage as Arne Engels and Adam Ida. Lewis Palmer was on 16 grand, Greg Taylor's on 15, Austin Trusty's on 15. Jesus, that's a steal, isn't it? And it says James McCarthy was on that. Let me just see if there's another site. January job asking price. Try this site. It's just giving you the total spend on salaries. Doesn't give you what he's on a week though. And I'm not subscribing to the fucking thing just to find out. Nah, there's just very, very secret. How much are we paying KT? I believe that KT's coming back for 35 grand a week. I believe that he's taking a massive wage cut and he's coming back for 35 grand a week. I can't see him being 35 grand a week and Callum McGregor being on 37. It'll be interesting. Yeah, but Lanky, it's not got. That's the site I was on. That's the site I was on, and it doesn't have Jotas. It's not got Jotas. Salarysport.com. They don't have Jota signed for Celtic yet. So if anybody else can find it. Yeah, because they've still got Lewis Palmer on that. So it's not, obviously it doesn't get updated regularly enough. I'm just going to check out something else whilst I'm on. Real Sociedad have scored against Manchester United. Oh, it's now 1-1. Jesus Christ. Two penalties. God, that must be some game. Two penalties. Just scored. Weird to get two penalties so soon. Anyway, let's jump back into the comments. EBT's also a thing when the Japanese people move. The kids won't move until they finish school. They like to be settled. Let's hope that is the case. I think Maeda will stay for another year and then go to the World Cup next year. He could be tempted to go to the ML. I don't know if he'll go to America. Jota would be on around the 30 grand. He's got to be on more than that. He's not taking a massive wage cut to come to Celtic, surely. Even though he's made his money. He's made his money. Don't trust the Hun security. Oh, jeez. The other week about Celtic's wages, you mentioned it on here. Yeah. But it doesn't have... It doesn't have Jota's wage on it, which is weird. There's an awful lot of secrecy about the whole Jota deal, about what was actually paid. But never mind. Anyway, there was an interesting article that also came out today. Is the Palestine boss wants to play Celtic in a friendly. That'll wind up the Huns, wouldn't it? Get Palestine over here to play football against Celtic in a friendly. Their boss says that there's a strong connection between the Palestine people and the Green Brigade, who regularly fly Palestine flags. And it's also came into notice because they have a player playing in Aberdeen, and that's why they've noticed it even more. For sure, it would be a fantastic moment if the Palestine national team could play against Celtic. Oh, I would love that to happen. I would so love that to happen. Let you see Lawwell and everybody going, don't make it political. Fucking hell. Steve McCown says that Jota's currently being paid 28 grand a week by Celtic. Oh, there you go. 28 grand a week. That's a deal, isn't it? Considering he must have been was he not on 26 when he left? Was he not on 26? when he left Celtic. And Palestine, Celtic would be brilliant. It would be absolute. It would be one of the best games ever. The media meltdown would be absolutely phenomenal. At any time possible, we would be ready for such match. The Palestine manager went on to say it would be special for the people of Palestine. Celtic also have a core support in their Palestine as a result of their fan base. Lots of people in Palestine support Celtic due to their supremacy in Scotland. They're now being challenged by Aberdeen. He says every Palestinian is aware the backing of Celtic fans, and Palestine. So all Palestinians support Celtic. Absolutely brilliant. That would just completely noise the zombies up. And he went on to say that he was really proud of it. Anyway, there was another article that's seen today that Jeffrey Schlupp, Ross McCormick says that Celtic haven't seen the best of Jeffrey Schlupp, and this is an interesting one. We've all been talking about Jeffrey Schlupp taking a pay cut at the end of this season, and then it was put to us, it says people are saying he'll have a wage cut, but that's not the case, because he's going to be on nothing anyway. He's out of contract, so there's no wage cut. There's absolutely no wage cut for Jeffrey Schlupp, because he's going to be on nothing this summer. So 15 to 20 grand a week at Celtic is better than nothing. Do you know what I mean? And it's a good way to see out the last few years. But he did go on to say that he said, look, Celtic fans haven't seen the best of Jeffrey Schlupp, which is interesting. He can play several positions, and even when Kieran Tierney comes back next year, Jeffrey Schlupp still might end up playing 20 or so games for Celtic at the left back, as Celtic tried to make sure that Kieran Tierney is okay. That Kieran Tierney will be okay for the full length of the season. Peace, love and pork fats in the house. Jeffrey made his money in the Premier League. Makes sense for him to end his career at Celtic, playing Champions League and lifting trebles. It does, Irishman 16, and I think there's quite a lot of the Celtic media have been going down the narrative that, can we afford him? He's going to take a wage cut, but he's take a wage cut from what? He's out of contract. Celtic are currently paying 30 grand a week of his current wages. Brendan Rodgers will sit and have a talk with him and say, look, I'd really love it if you stayed here. Would you fancy playing some Champions League football? He's going to say, of course, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think he's only played Champions League football once, isn't he? And he's going to jump at it. I think that he'll be a fantastic addition, and anybody that's keeping Greg Taylor at the team must be a fantastic player, because let's face it, there's been many players that have came in to try and knock Greg Taylor out the team, and they haven't managed to do it on an ongoing basis. So it could be a fantastic summer for Celtic fans. It could be an absolutely amazing summer for us Celtic fans. There is always a fear going into any summer. There is always a fear that going into any summer that we... wait a minute, Lank is saying, here's a question. We play them on Sunday and they've changed formation. Would you play Greg Taylor left back so he can play inverted, help out the midfield? Because we'll be outnumbered in midfield. Jeffrey Schlupp will do that. Jeffrey Schlupp's playing it quite well. If you watch the games, Lanky, as you do, Jeffrey Schlupp's been playing that position. And I think he's a bit more of... I'd rather have Jeffrey Schlupp, because there's going to be some meaty tackles. And he's a big lad that can take care of himself. And I just think that Greg Taylor's... He's not going to be putting in 110% in case he gets injured. And he's thinking about, I can't get injured between now and the end of the season. And that's in the back of his mind. And Brendan Rodgers will know this. Brendan Rodgers will say, I'm going to leave you on the bench, mate, because I know that you're not staying. You know that you're not staying. I know as a football player, it's in the back of your mind that you can't go into every tackle 110% in case you get injured. Because if you then get injured, you're going to have to take what we are offering you And we know that you don't want that. We know that you want to leave and go and play your football elsewhere and try and get more money elsewhere. And then, God forbid that he gets injured, and then we're stuck with him. There's no way Greg Taylor's starting. FIFA won't let the deal happen because of Leeds, and the people behind it have found out about their fans being bigoted. It won't happen, says Peter Lackett. Are we talking about that a lot? Who cares? Jota's on 20 grand a week before he left Baz. There you go, 21 grand a week. And now he's on 26, I believe, 28. I can't remember. What was it like he said? Need to go back up that. Full house at Celtic Park could be 47 or whatever it is. It's not a full house because there's a big massive space in between the fans, isn't there? I would love a pre-season friendly with St. Pauli. I think they've burnt their bridges with Celtic, have they not? Did St. Pauli no burn their bridges with Celtic last summer? Schlupp is different from Greg Taylor, but for me, Greg plays inverted fullback perfectly. I think that we need a bit of physicality in this game, and I don't think that Greg Taylor has the same physicality as Jeffrey Schlupp. I think that we will need a bit of physicality. I think it's going to be a meaty game, and like I said, no disrespect to Greg Taylor, but he'll know, and Brendan Rodgers will know. He's been in the game long enough. Brendan knows that when a player gets towards the end of his contract, he's mindful of tackles that he would go in for at the beginning of the summer, the beginning of the year. You know, he knows the player, and he knows, and I think that Greg Taylor may have been. They'll look at the stats and they'll look at everything, and I think that they will know. Jota was on 198 grand a week for about a year, tax free. He doesn't need any wages. He does, of course he does. Everybody needs wages. Schlupp at centre midfield in Europe with KT at left back with Cook. I don't think that he can, Jeffrey Schlupp, control the game the way that Callum McGregor does. It's just a question. Can he control the game? Does he have the ability to get the team moving around and make sure that everyone, does he play that captain position, or are you on about then putting Callum McGregor further forward? And then who do you leave out? Rio Hatate, because he's sold in the summer. That would be an interesting one. Evening to you, Danny. Evening to you. We need meaty power for this game. I think we will. I think that it is going to be a game. I think it's going to be a game where there will be meaty tackles going in. Barry Ferguson's going to have them on the training pitch this week, and it's like you go in and you go in and you go in hard. Even though they're playing tonight, hopefully they get beat tonight. And they need to get beat for a few because they know they're in front, aren't they? They're winning 3-1 in aggregate, so they need to get beat 2-0 just to go to extra time. No, that's not going to happen, is it? Fuckers are going to get through, aren't they? Although Fenerbahce, fuck Fenerbahce anyway. Talking about people that may get sacked, understand that Sugarly Peg Ange is, although they're well in possession tonight, is a lot of the fans are wanting him sacked. How the mighty fall. Anyway. Right, activate that, close that down, close that screen down, and Celtic news. What is going on with this? There we go. Rodgers issues warning to Celtic, to Rangers. I'm just reading these headlines here. National coach hails Celtic player. Celtic had look. That's nonsense. A lot of the Celtic sites are going down the Kyogo story route. Is it just me, or is it been a quiet week, media-wise? There doesn't seem to be a lot of nonsense going around in the media. Usually the week of a derby, there's all sorts of crazy shit going on, and it seems to be the fact that there just doesn't anymore. There's just not the nonsense that used to be in the media. I think it's losing its clickbait titles by the mainstream media, or is it the fact that the mainstream media are more and more irrelevant, and people know that the mainstream media are more and more irrelevant, and that's why they don't seem to get their way. Steve Docker says, evening Baz. Tam Mack says, who's shooting the Spurs game? No idea. Anyway, there's a lot of people watching football, so I'm only sticking on for half an hour, and that has come and gone. It has come and gone because there's a lot of people watching football tonight. It is Thursday. People are quiet because the league is over. Probably quiet because the league is over. Jamesy boy, do you think so? All the nonsense will start tomorrow, says Paul Baird. Because it's a dead rubber. But it was a dead rubber last season when they thought they'd win the league when they beat us. I don't like it when they call it a dead rubber, because sometimes then, Brendan Rodgers said in his interview at the beginning that Rangers were the better team. Now, he doesn't like that to happen often. It happened once when he was here before. It's happened one this time. So hopefully, we'll go out and we'll show exactly why we're the top team in Scotland. It's been good, Baz, because we haven't been going full pelt for ages. Deserve a quiet time. Yeah, I suppose it is that. Big Des, their sisters will wake them up and they'll sleep together. Naughty, very naughty. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this evening. Make sure you join me at 9 a.m. or just before 9 a.m. tomorrow morning when I upload tomorrow morning's video. And on that note, I'll let you go and watch some football now. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans.